Hello, Rasslin Rage fans. You are looking at one half of IPW's award-winning commentary team, chairwoman of IPW's Mental Wellness Task Force, 2021 IPW Rookie of the Year, Independence Pro Wrestling Champion, and sponsor of Rasslin Rage, Davison Sarai. Enjoy your stay. I think Cody's pretty cool. I think Dan's pretty alright. Fuck that other guy.
Derek Wolf here, the most successful person in the Independence Pro Wrestling locker room, and your Michiana champion. And you're watching Rasslin Rage. Oh!
This is Rasslin Rage. This is Rasslin Rage. This is Rasslin Rage. Cody Fleming is the man who leads the brigade. This is Rasslin Rage. This is Rasslin Rage. This is Rasslin Rage. Cody Fleming is the man who leads the brigade.
And now it's time for Rasslin Rage with your host, Cody Fleming.
Yo, what is happening, everybody? It is Cody from Rasslin Rage, 1/3 of and MI Dub. I am joined by JonTae Kieth. I'm going to be asking him a few questions, but first, make sure you smash that thumbs up. If you are new here, please subscribe. There's a red button over there. Yeah, there it is. It's over there. Click that, make it gray. If you're on your phone, do the same thing. Also, down in the description, you are going to find a few things. First thing you're going to find is JonTae Key's social media. Make sure you follow him on his social media, Instagram and Facebook. That way you can stay up to date on anywhere that he may or may not be. Also, down in the description, you will find our wonderful sponsors. They make so many things possible. One of those things is the 2021 MIDub/Rage Awards, which is 100% sponsored by our sponsors or funded by our sponsors, which is awesome. So thank you to them. First up, the Spyder, F5 Wrestling, the Blacksheep Justin Dream, Joe Broni, Davison Sarai, PKSA Karate, Port Huron. That is where I obtained only my first degree and also my second degree, black belt in Tung Sudo. So, JonTae Kieth, you are in fact the FU champion. You recently defended that championship against DBA, and you not only did you defend it, but you also won and retained that championship. And that's not a lot of people beat DBA and still live to talk about it. So, all right, tell me a little bit about that match.
I mean, that match, it was like, I don't want to say it was a dream come true because, it's so cliche, but in a way, it kind of was. Like, he kind of like influenced. He got a lot of influence in the city.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was kind of full circle for me because I remember I wasn't even I didn't even get blessed in the business just yet. Nobody really said anything to me or was like, okay, kid, go ahead, when I first saw him wrestle. And ironically, I first saw DBA wrestle and in Hazel Park. It was at this little community church that the little yard fed I used to work for back in the day. Mm-hmm. They ran out of there. But it was another guy that ran out of there also. And he just completely shitted on everything that we did because they had a better crowd. It was lit. They was just shitting on everything we did. So our the little yard fed that we had going on, I'm like, I guess that's how you supposed to do it type shit. So I saw DBA for the first time and he reminded me of New Jack. And I was like, because I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know who DBA was. I was so ignorant to the indies. I didn't know nothing. So I saw him. I was like, he like New Jack, he this version of New Jack or whatever. And he beat somebody ass. I forgot who it was, but yeah, that was the first time I ever saw him wrestle. And me and 3 are cool.
Right.
So me and 3 being cool, I was always like an extended little family member and stuff like that. So I always called him Unc. And, you know, it was always like that little mutual respect there. I could never get booked on XI, but I was always like, you know what I'm saying, like hanging on, you know, they was like, yeah, that's a little nephew over there. He good, you know. So it was dope to be able to actually finally get a chance so we can touch and he can see how much I've grown over the years, how much I've matured, and, you know, just as a performer now, I that's why I look at the game so different, you know, mentally. I can go in there with anybody, and the fact that I can go in there with DBA and, you know, figure something out just on the fly. When he got there, you know, we dapped each other up. He was like, "What up?" He was like, "What up, Neff?" And I'm like, "What's good, You know, what's going on? Like, what you want to do?" He like, "What you want to do?" I'm like, I don't know.
All right.
So, you know, it was one of those walk and talk fields, and
Right.
it was old school, and I loved it.
Oh, good. That's awesome. Well, so here you are now. You went against somebody that you seen before you kind of started wrestling or whatever, as you were coming in and things like that. And now you're in the ring with them. You're a champion in F5. I was there when you won the F5 championship. That was awesome sauce, by the way.
Thank you.
Let's rewind a little bit. Let's take it back. Let's take it back to a young Jon'Tae, Kieth, right? Some people grow up. I've interviewed a lot of guys here and some women here in the state of Michigan. And one of the things I've always asked is, like, how did you gain interest in professional wrestling? Was it something that you watched as a kid, or was it something that you were exposed to later on in life?
It's kind of like both. My cousin was a real wrestling fanatic back in the day.
Okay.
And my cousin was the one that was like, he knew about, and this is like the late 90s and stuff. So, you know, the Attitude Era was kind of in. And he was like, I'm 3 years older than him. So he shouldn't have been watching that shit back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So he was already a baby talking about suck it and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, bro. Like, I was into different stuff. Like, my uncle got me into stuff like I was into karate movies, you know, like Jackie Chan stuff and Dragon Ball Z, you know, stuff regular, like stuff like that, kid shit. You know, I didn't get exposed into wrestling until I was like 11, for real. And well, I was already exposed. I take that back. I was exposed, but I didn't really start paying real attention to it until I got 11 years old.
Okay.
You know, that's when I was like, okay, it's something to these dudes. Like, because you didn't really know if it was a work or if it was, you ain't know what it was. That's the beauty about wrestling. You ain't know what the hell it was. You just wanted to know, like, more of it, you know, and that's how I got into it. One of the reasons. One, when I kind of thought about it, when I saw Jeff Hardy jump off the cage in Unforgiven 2000, I was like, that's dope, because I can do stuff like that. But when I was 11, that's when I knew this is what I wanted to do for sure. Okay. I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. It took over my life, bro. It really did. And the more we continue this conversation, like, you'll understand how it did for sure.
Well, I hear a name that you say there, and the one Jeff Hardy. And so there's people that we always have favorites, and a lot of guys that I talk to that when they become a professional wrestler, there's a guy that they say, man, this is the guy that I want. Not to say I want to be, because you never want to be somebody else. Obviously, you want to be you, right? But is there somewhat, like you say Jeff Hardy? So is there some emulation there of some sort? Because I see some of the things that you do in the ring, and when you said Jeff Hardy, I'm like, well, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
it really makes sense. So, you know, did Jeff Hardy kind of play a little bit of a role in what would we say? What's the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of the word right now. But, you know, influence. The influence. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, right. Influence. There we go. Did he influence you?
Hell, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Because you can ask anybody that used to rock with me from like back in the day, and they'll tell you, like, my whole moveset was damn near Jeff Hardy. You know, like, from the time I jumped off the porch and got into the business to like 2019, it was, yeah, you can tell that Jeff Hardy was my biggest influence. You know, I do a swan time because of Jeff Hardy. You know what I mean? Like, and everybody, and especially my generation, like if you was born in the 90s and you grew up in the 2000s, 9 times out of 10, your favorite wrestlers are Jeff Hardy, Shawn Michaels, or Mick Foley. You know what I'm saying? Those, I feel like, in Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, whatever, but like, those are like my generation's, like, everybody will say them somehow. You know what I'm saying? Because you can see all their styles in us. You know what I'm saying? Like every match you can see what we do is like, okay, you can tell what they used to watch growing up. Yeah. You know what I mean? So absolutely. Jeff Hardy was my biggest influence until I figured out, like, I don't want to be like Jeff Hardy. I want to be like me. Right. And I figured out who I was, but I didn't even figure out the business, bro, until like last year, for real. Or maybe 2 years ago. And I've been doing this shit for like 13 years. Right.
I feel like a lot of guys struggle, and when I say guys, I mean anybody. I don't want to disinclude anybody, but I feel like a lot of people struggle with finding themselves, right? Because they're always trying to be something else, or they're like somebody else, right? And there's a few things that, you know, for myself, and again, you know, I say this 100 million times. I'm just a fan. I'm not trained, but I'm a fan, and I spend money. Okay, so if there's something I notice, I'm not going to spend money. You know what I mean? You know, and so there's some things like when certain people look the same, it's kind of this watered down whatever, right? It's what's so special about you if everybody looks just like you.
The realest thing that I ever heard, well, one of the realest things, was one time I went down to CZW. It was the dojo that they was doing, like a little seminar shit. And they was just asking dudes, like, who are you? And a lot of them couldn't answer that. And it's because we really don't know who we are. Like around that time, like I'm 28 now. So around then I was like 24. You know, I don't know what the hell. I don't even know why I'm there for real. I just know I want to wrestle. So asking me who I am, like, that's a loaded ass question. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So it really make you think when you do this, when you stay in here, like as long as I have, or whoever, it really makes you think about who you are, what you want to do, what you want to bring to the business. How can you better the business? You know what I'm saying? Because I used to have that problem where I wanted, and it's just a few months ago, like that's the beauty about growing. You can always change your perspective about things all the time. You know what I mean? So my biggest problem was I wanted to be, I don't know, the most controversial, misunderstood. If you don't fuck with me, that's cool. If you do, that's even better type dude. You know what I'm saying? But that's because I had a real big chip on my shoulder. Like, and around that time period, it was all bad. You know what I mean? So I didn't know who I was. I didn't even know. I just knew my favorite wrestler was Jeff Hardy. It takes some real shit, like some real life experiences that you got to go through outside of wrestling, like outside of anything that you do, to really know like who you are. Yeah. And sometimes you got to sit down with people and they got to kick it with you, and they got to tell you, like, sometimes they got to remind you who you are. Sometimes you got to look in the mirror and see who you are. So it's like, it's a lot of different elements to something like that. Yeah. And we don't really figure shit out like that unless we go out and perform, and we get different reaction from people. Right. You know, and that's one of the main things I wish I knew like back then, because I would have been like figured it out like at like 22. Right. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Well, you know, I did an interview last night with Mark Ross, and Mark Ross was talking about, you know, things that he did. He took a year off, and he spent time with his kids. But in your talk, the things that you went through got you to where you're at now. So it was like you had to do those things, because you wouldn't be the JonTae Kieth you are today if it wasn't for those things that you did then. Whether they were bad or good, and whatever the decision was, bad or good, it still led you down the path that you're on today. And now here you are, you're the FU champion. You are booked in XICW. You're competing in wrestling with the vet. You know what I'm saying? Which is awesome, right? XICW, in my opinion, this is my opinion, it's the premier organization in the state of Michigan.
Yeah,
21
sure.
fucking years, man.
Sure.
That means something, okay?
XI is definitely like, that's legendary, and it's not just because of that, but like look at the history behind, like look who they got behind them. You know what I'm saying? Like the Sheik is still to this day the biggest draw that Detroit ever seen. You know what I'm saying? Like that, to me, I take shit like that to heart because one, I'm from the city. Two, my grandparents, they remember that. My in-laws remember stuff like that. Like people that was around in that era of the Sheik, you know what I'm saying? They still remember, like, yo, like, I remember the impact he had on the city.
Yeah.
And as a performer, like, you think about stuff like that, and you'd be like, how can I reach something like that one day?
Yeah.
It may sound crazy, but like a lot of folks now, especially in the indies now, they're not thinking like that. They like, nah, let's just go out there and put on this 5-star. All right, that's cool. But are they gonna remember that 5-star though, for real? Because what is really a 5-star? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's really a 5-star? In your opinion, like, this is just us chopping it up, you know? Like, in your opinion, what is a 5-star match to you?
To me?
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing is I don't call it 5-star matches. I usually just go, the match of the night. But I mean, I'll give it to, you know, just for, you know, because it's you and I'll say it like this, you know, a 5-star match, it has to entrap me, right? It has to it's like a tennis match, right? You're watching back and forth, right? Back and forth, watching that fucking ball. What's that fucking thing in Harry Potter? You know, that damn little snitch or whatever they call that motherfucker, right? Woo, woo, woo. You're trying to watch that, right?
Yeah.
And there's only been a couple times in watching matches where I've been so taken back by the storytelling that's going on in the ring that I'm almost in tears. You know what I mean? Because that's how great the match is to me. So in my impression, that's what it has to do to me. It has to give me all those emotions. It has to take me on this roller coaster ride of emotion. And almost because I'm so awed at what you're doing in front of me in this you're telling me this story without words.
Yeah.
That I'm enthralled in it. You know what I mean? I guess that's what I would say a 5-star match to me is.
And that's your opinion, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's lit. And that's what wrestling is. It's supposed to make you feel something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, man, that's what I was bringing up about the Sheik. In the 60s, in 67, you know, in the city, that was around like the riot era, you know what I mean? So it was a lot of stuff going on back then where it's like, you got like a community of people that's feeling like they ain't no hope, they ain't know where to go. Like you got the cops over here beating us down, you got this over here that's happening. So it's like that escape of reality is what's needed in humanity sometimes when you're going through all that.
Yeah.
So like you can get lost, and people got lost in the Sheik, which is why he was like still the biggest draw in Michigan, because in Detroit, because you got all that's going on. That's what we need. We need something that's going to distract us from all the real shit that's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? That can like I said, distract us.
Yeah.
And as a performer, I live for stuff like that. I'll never forget the first time I had somebody told me before, they was like, yo, like, I'm not gonna say her name or nothing like that, but like, they was feeling like their mental health was bad and they was feeling suicidal. And the main thing they wanted to do was to see me wrestle. And they saw me wrestle, and that match was inspiring. That match was so lit for them that they was like, oh, like, I don't want to go nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I hear stuff like that. I look at it and like, it's just deeper than wrestling, because art imitates life all the time. You know what I mean? You don't know what people is really going through. You got to treat everybody like they're going through something. And if I can sit here and take people and take them on a ride that they never been on before, you know what I mean? Because I can do it all. I'm not being cocky, but I can do whatever. I feel like God gave me this ability you know what I'm saying, to go out there and get a reaction out of people somehow, some way, and leave a mark. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, well, ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. So
You know,
you watch a little bit of wrestling, you get into the business, and I'm not trying to be a dick here. I really wasn't familiar with you.
Oh no, that's lit. That's all good.
You know what I mean? Because and you asked me like, how long have I been fucking with the indies? And I'm honest with everybody, and I tell you like this: no, I haven't been around for 12, 15 years like some people have.
That's good.
You know, well, yeah, I guess. There was a promotion here where I live. I live in the Port Huron area. There was a promotion. They are supposed to be coming back, to my understanding, Blue Water Championship Wrestling. But anyways, and I watched a couple there, and I didn't know that there were more. I just thought this was something somebody did, and they're like, "Oh, this is cool," you know. And then I met MM3, and I found out about XICW. And then I just kind of like started looking into more shows that were going into the state. And I'm like, dude, there's like a plethora of wrestling, dude. Like, oh my God. Yeah. Like, I didn't know this. And seriously, dude, like, holy shit, I had no idea. And that's why Rage started, you know, but I was finding my footing. But it blows my mind how many people really don't know that there's indie wrestling, or they're just real ignorant, like, oh, it's not no WWE, you know what I mean? Well, yeah. Hey, whatever. Everybody's got their own taste. It's cool, but give it a shot.
And that's the thing too. You know, the indies ain't been around that long. It's only been around since like the 90s, I believe. It started in the 90s. You know, because the territories ended and shit like that. So there's really nowhere for folks to go. But that's another story. But, you know, I didn't know about the indies either. Like I said, I didn't know about it until I literally got into it. So, me and you got that in common.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I ain't know nothing about them damn indies. I literally thought it was WWE and, Same. You know, maybe, what was it? WCW, ECW, TNA, and that was it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When they hit me with Ring of Honor, I'm like,
whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
You're right. That's right. Yeah, and that. I was the same way. I'm going to be honest with you. For me, it was just WWE for the longest time because that's what I grew up watching. You know what I mean? And I would see some of the old school WCCW on back in the old TBS days and stuff, and 605 and all that wonderful stuff. You know, I watched WCW with my cousin and the old NWA back in the day when we were younger. But it wasn't. It was his dad was into it, so we sit down and we'd watch it with him, and we had a good time. It was what it was. It is what it is. Now, you are scheduled. What is it? March 4th or 5th? I can't remember exactly.
I mean, let's put both of them down.
Okay. Well, yeah, XICW.
I could pop up at XI.
All right. Okay. Well, I can't remember. All right. Dates are my shitty part, right? So, like, I do a show about all these wrestling events, and then, like, I tell you what days there are, and then I don't remember the days, right? So it's like, but I have a smoking problem. But anyways,
me too.
So the 4th is FU, and now you're not defending your championship, correct? The championships are not on the line. I didn't know if this was a fact or not. So now I do know for fact that you are not defending the championship. So it's the FU champion, and it's the BBW.
Yeah.
All right, and the BBW. I want to make sure I get it right. And the BBW champ, which is Jason's organization, if I'm not mistaken. And so you two, they're champ, and you are going to go at it. So do you know anything about this guy? Have you ever faced this guy? Do you know anything about him? Anything? No scouting, no tape. No, you're gonna have to watch some tape. You gotta scout something. You're not.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you this. This is how I get, ready for matches.
Okay.
And I don't even know if I should say this, but fuck it. It is what it is, man. All right. How I get ready for matches is real simple. Like they'll tell me, like, all right, yo, this is who you wrestling. And I'll probably 9 out of 10 have a feel of them anyway, because the Indies is like high school. Everybody knows somebody somehow.
Right.
I've seen him. I've seen his videos. He's lit. You know what I mean? Like, dude he a champ. And I know we're gonna go out there and we're gonna make something happen for sure. But like I said, I'll just look at you and I'll be like, I'll just adapt to you. That's what you do. You adapt. When folks ask me like what's your style? I'm like, I ain't got no style. I mean, I do got style. Like I got style. like I got style. But like when people ask me, they be like what are you? You can't consider me like a high flyer because not all I do is fly. You can't consider me a technical wrestler because I don't really do technical shit sometimes, but I can if need be, so I'm just doing, I don't know, like I'm a jack of all trades in a way, like I adapt to you.
Right.
That's how you're supposed to do it. This is another gem. I'll say this. In the business, it's all about how. Look at Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, Ricky Morton. Who else? Yeah, but just mostly I'll say them the main points I could think of right now. So Shawn Michaels was always great at like adapting to like his opponent for sure. That's why like every time you'll see Shawn getting his ass kicked, by the time he was like, you know what I'm saying, on the up, people was already invested because of his selling.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the key to wrestling, bro. It's all about selling. If you sell, you're going to be great. And I'm not just saying like selling in the ring. I'm getting deeper now because you got to sell everywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to sell everything that you do. From the time that you walk out the curtain to the time you walk back, you have to sell. Because people got to invest in you somehow. If they don't invest in you, then there's no point of you even being at the show. The whole point of wrestling was to make money. If you're not making money in the wrestling business, it's not the wrestling business. It's a talent show.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
That is a gem.
It's a talent show because all you're doing is just seeing who can flip the best, who can kick the best, who can do everything the best, and you're not really elevating anybody for real. Nobody's coming out of that with anything. It's just it's like going to the crowd. It's like going to your match and you planning everything and they're going to pop for that because that's what they're supposed to pop for. It's nothing genuine behind it.
Right. I like it.
You know?
I gotta ask you a couple things here. So, talking about, I was saying earlier, like I haven't been involved in the indies a lot, and I said, like I said, I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but I didn't know who you were initially, and
it's all up.
There was a reason for that because you weren't really working in Michigan for a while. Can I ask you why you weren't working in Michigan?
For sure. And I've been wanting to talk about it for a minute because not really a lot of people know why I wasn't working in Michigan. They just know that they'll see me in Michigan and be like, who is this dude? So it's like, I had heat.
Okay.
But I feel like the heat wasn't because of anything that I did. I didn't do anything to anybody. It's because of who I was associated with in the past. And because I was in there, I got the heat too. And because I'm loyal, I got the heat too. Okay. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be real. It was a company back in the day that we used to wrestle for called XICW. And a lot of the wrestlers that you hear about now came from there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say any names because a lot of the wrestlers don't want to be associated with it because, you know what I'm saying, they feel like, it's gonna cost me bookings, whatever. That to each his own. I respect that. I ain't gonna,
okay,
whatever you don't want put out, I ain't gonna say nothing. But it was a company that we used to wrestle for back in the day. And, even though we was a yard fed, we got into the building. We started making like a little bit of noise. Like, no cap, we had like fans, we was doing it for real. Like, it was a little like underground little thing going on. The pros didn't like it. The pros was like, what the fuck is all these? You know, a lot of vets was like, I know they not out here, you know, on some like, it's like a territory type thing. You like, who is these? And they not even trained for it. So we really need to know what's going on.
Right.
You know, another thing that kind of got us even more heat, they went to a Ring of Honor show. Like some XSU guys back in the day went to a Ring of Honor show. And they was in the front row chanting XSU. And I'm like doing ignorant shit, causing like really bad attention to ourselves. And it was just like a lot of like big names was there. And like Rhino was there. It was like a few dudes that was there. Like Truth Martini was there. They was like, damn, like who is these? You know what I'm saying? Eventually the owner ended up backdooring all of us. And the company folded and he ended up getting trained by Truth. And he kind of damn near like forgot about us. And I was one of those kids that got forgotten about. Because mind you, I started wrestling when I was in high school. I was barely in the 12th grade when I started wrestling.
Okay.
I was a junior. So between me, you know, going to school and, you know, doing shows on the weekend, I'm like, I'm feeling like the man. Because in high school, they was like, you do shows, you know. All I knew was XSU, you know, so I'm riding with XSU. I'm in high school thinking like, yo, something's going to pop off after XSU. And it didn't, you know, so I was left without bookings. And I was just, they wasn't about to be messing with me anyway, because why would we mess with you? And you've been out here wilding, doing whatever. And then you really out here not even trained. Mm-hmm. So what's really good with you? No, we're not about to book you. What really got me bookings was the Cole brothers, my uncles, Brian and Chuck. They saved me. They got me into the game and they taught me the game. Like, one thing that I feel like, in my opinion, that's missing from wrestling is the game. Everybody focuses on like the moves, and that's because it's all on TV. That's all what you see. It looks cool, but they don't teach you like the game of this shit, the game facts. Brian and Chuck sat me down and they gave me the game facts on how to deal with promoters, how to deal with other wrestlers, you know, just a lot of like your financial situation, like a lot of things you got to take into consideration that a lot of folks not going to tell you. You're just going to have to find out. So before you find out, let us school you so you'll already be hip. And that's what happened. So, and once that they schooled me to that, they started getting me bookings with Eddie Farhat. RIP Eddie Farhat. Right. You know, that's the Sheik's son. I know a lot of people sit here and shit on Eddie Farhat because of the shows that he used to have or whatever, but Eddie looked out for me. You know, Eddie was a good dude. He yelled. I yelled at him too. I kind of feel bad because we didn't, you know, have the best relationship after he passed and whatnot. The reason I left was because I felt disrespected. Like I don't need this, you know, I'm gone. Mm-hmm. You know, but Eddie really put me on when it came to matches, and he made sure that if you're gonna work, you're gonna work. Like, I learned how to call in the ring working at Eddie shows. So
that's cool. Well, so I learned something new today. I did not know that you were the nephew of the Cold brothers. I had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea. Now I know, and knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. So that's and they're in a battle over at Metro Pro right now with the Cobra Kai and LJ Lawrence. So yeah,
LJ is lit too. The fact that, shout out to the whole Cobra Kai, because like Lawrence just had like, he like looks rejuvenated, dog. Yeah. Like I want to get in the ring with bro for sure.
And I will say this, and I will go on record and say this, but that if there was an award in the MIW Rage War things this year that was for, you know, most what's the word I'm looking for, like comeback or something like that, he'd be the guy. He'd be the one that would get that, because he is totally Yeah, dude, and he's selling merch, boy. He is selling merch. Don't let him fucking lie to you. My kid is 7 and he's fucking sold. He loves LJ. He come home after the Stanton show and he was doing the whole Cobra Kai, the yes sensei. He's doing the whole thing. And it wasn't because he was watching Cobra Kai on Netflix. It's because he seen LJ Lawrence in the ring. All right? True story.
He's the GOAT, man.
True
man,
story.
he's lit. He's lit for that one.
That's what I like about doing these interviews, right? You know, because right now, this is your first time on the show. This is your get to know you interview. I'm learning a lot about you. You know, the origin story per se, right? The origin story. And, you know, you're talking about coming in, you talked that you worked for a yard promotion. And a lot of guys have come in that way. You're not the only person. You know, I've heard a lot of guys say, hey, I came in the wrong way and someone had to smarten me up.
But you know, the way I came in and the way that a lot of other guys came in though are like different. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was straight gutter and like how I came, you know, with everything in that. And everybody knows that. Well, they should. I was young though. Like I was like 16, 17. And I came through with my friends and we was just like, no, fuck y'all. You know, we was already like, it is what it is anyway. So I wasn't taught etiquette.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I wasn't taught how you were supposed to, the unwritten rules of the business and stuff like that. I didn't get that until 2017, 2018. So I started paying attention and I started like actually listening and going places. You know what I mean? I had to leave Michigan to understand this shit. And the way that people act in locker rooms everywhere else is different in Michigan. And really? I feel like that's what brought me back here though, because through all the shit that I was going through, you know, in Ohio, Indiana, New York, and where I was at, you know what I'm saying? It all brought me back here because the jewels and the knowledge that I got now, I can get that to whoever else. I can get that to somebody else that's going through the same thing. This is quiet as kept. And I know we live, but it ain't quiet then. But it kind of bothered me that, you know, people was talking about this, you know, certain individual. And instead of me like jumping on this train, I reached out for real. And, you know, I'm pretty sure off camera, I'll tell you who it is, but I'm pretty sure you know who it is. The promo that everybody know about. And it's one of the young kids. You know what I mean?
Yep. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I definitely reached out, you know, and I check on bro like almost every day. You know what I'm saying? Folks couldn't even imagine like half the stuff that you going through. You know what I'm saying? And it's stuff like that I take in consideration. I'll be like, you know, I gotta be the one that's like, because they shun me out. I'm not about to shun nobody else out. You know what I mean? Right. And that's where I'm at with it for real.
I got you. Well, so how did you? Once the negative train starts, it's hard to bounce back from that. It really is, because it's almost like a cancel culture, right?
Yeah.
And so how did you go about bouncing back from that?
You got to look yourself in the mirror sometimes. You know, it didn't make sense to me. Like the business didn't make sense on how it was presented to me, because it's a mindset that go into this. So you got an indie mindset and then you got a business mindset. The indie mindset is where you live for the thrill, you live for the internet, you live for, it's like all you want to do is just it's that moment. You're not really thinking about the longevity part of everything. You know what I mean? Like right. That's why the WWE don't want indie dudes, because they think of it's a lot deeper than what people realize. But WWE don't want indie dudes at all. And it's because we got like this personality where it's just like, all right, we don't even need y'all no way. And granted, you know, there is other options and shit, but in the wrestling business, it's different on how you do things. You know what I'm saying? You can't go up and act like an indie darling to somebody that really drew some money out here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's like an indie, like I said, it's like an indie darling talking about trying to get an Undertaker some advice about some shit. You're like, who the fuck?
I got you.
Well, you know what I'm saying? He was
yeah.
like, he like, bro, get out of my face. So like, it's levels to this shit. And when I started to backtrack and check myself and realize that, okay, I can't be out here trying to go out there and steal the show all the time, because how everybody else gonna eat if you going out there and you going into business for yourself all the time?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What really proves if you're great or a GOAT or not is how you elevate other people. You know what I mean?
Like
and there's one thing that nobody could ever say about me is that if they ever face me in the ring, I didn't make them look like $1,000.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't make them feel like, oh, damn, like I want to do that shit again. Right. So to me, that's more of a, this is awesome. You know what I'm saying? Or it's levels to it, because not only do I grow more as a performer, but I grow more like with people like you that's just new to me, that didn't understand me at first, that now do understand me.
Right.
That's a new fan I just made.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and that's a genuine love that nobody can never really take away from, because they like, damn, like I fuss with bro. I don't even want to see him wrestle. I rather him talk. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's when you know that you got something going for real, because they just invested in the person. They don't even want to see what you really do. They just want to know, okay, I gotta be next to you somehow.
Okay. I like it.
You know?
I like it a lot. It makes sense to me. I just hope it starts making sense to a lot of other people. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to say this the wrong way. Yes, there's a lot of new guys and girls that come into the business, but how many of those guys fall to the wayside, or how many of them girls fall to the wayside because they just are not getting those teaching, that information that could help them excel, or they end up giving up on themselves because they don't see any return on their investment. Because let's be honest, when you pay for training, that's an investment. It's an investment in yourself. Right?
Absolutely. And why do you think there's like, this is one of the reasons why my mama, and I'm gonna be real with you, I told my mom, I'm like, listen, Ma, I want to be a professional wrestler. Like, how can we make this happen? She's like, first of all, how do you even get into the business, and how much does it cost? I'm like, okay, well, I don't know, and I'm sure it's a lot of money. She's like, bro, you didn't even graduate yet. What are you talking? I'm like, there's no curriculum for this shit. You can't go to school how to be a freaking pro wrestler. You know what I'm saying? You got to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. And it's like it's like a secret society. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Nobody knows how to get up in this shit. Somebody just blesses you in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, it's a lot of elements to it.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a wrestler, but I am afforded some special privileges, I should say. You know what I'm saying? And I know things, but I don't talk about those things. Not on here anyways.
Right.
How do I'm trying to think of the right way to say this so that I don't, get in trouble. And you know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's hard sometimes, man. Like, you just don't know. You gotta watch what you say and who you say it to and who you're talking about and who you're talking to about who. And it's like, so you're just better off keeping your mouth shut.
But isn't that just like any business for real? Like, we all had, I ain't worked at Ford, like the job I'm at now, you feel me? Like plants, like, how plants work.
Yeah.
You feel me? It's always about like, all jobs is full of political bullshit. You know what I mean? We all go through it.
Political bullshit.
Wrestling is no different. And it's no different, man. Because you dealing with, when you bring money involved with everything, you see the art goes away when the money comes. Yeah. You know what I mean? Fuck the art at that point. once you start making money, nobody really cares about the art of it. It's just like that's why, in my opinion, I could be wrong, you know what I mean? But in my opinion, that we will never see anybody on that transcendent, larger than life level, not just wrestling or whatever, but like I'm talking about in a lot of things, like music. It's because everything is just so watered down in corporate. You know what I'm saying? When you have a corporation, you have no choice but to listen to these people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just like if I had my own business and, you know, everything is going gravy, everything is love, and they like, yo, your business is prospering right now. Like, we want to do this for you, we want to do that for you, and we're gonna pay you $8 billion just to go to whatever, because come on. I mean, hell no, I'm not about to listen to my core audience no more, because my core audience ain't giving me $8 billion right now. I'm sorry. So I'm about to go ahead. I'm about to go to Saudi, like Vince was like he does all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a business. When you go corporate, you have no choice but to listen to these sponsors, and they're gonna water you down. And that's what it is. Bro, no cap. I've seen the biggest. Let me watch how I say this, because it pissed me off.
Right.
All right. It's just one time I was scrolling on the internet. I'm on Google. I'm fucking around on Google, whatever. And I see some shit that MLW was posting. They was talking about bringing me in. And I'm like, I didn't talk to nobody from MLW. So this is new to me. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw something like that, I've realized like everything damn near worked. Because I ain't even talk to nobody.
Right.
I ain't talk to nobody. It's on Google right now. I can show you just so you can know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't bullshit. But it's shit like that where you realize and you look at the business and you be like, this shit is, you know what I'm saying? All right, okay. I see what type of time everybody's on for real.
Yeah.
You know, but like I said, once you go corporate, bro, you have no choice but to listen. You have to. And AEW is going to be no different from them either.
Right.
The dude owns the Jaguars.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a billionaire already. So they're going to end up going corporate. It's so deep, bro. I don't want to say too much because, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know.
It's deep.
It's deep. It's deep, like you said. Well, you know, guys, everybody watching out there, if you're watching live or maybe you're catching this replay on YouTube, or maybe, just maybe you're listening on Podbean or anywhere that because we're on every podcast platform. I mean, literally everyone. If you're listening there, please make sure to scroll down in the description, find JonTae's Instagram and his Facebook. Check him out over there. It's, that way you can be up to date on where he's at, what he's doing, because he doesn't just do Michigan. He's in other places sometimes too. So,
and sometimes.
Yeah, it's sometimes. So you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention. That's the thing. That's what I do here. I bring attention to your social medias and your shit so that people can say, hey, I know that guy, and I like being able to say, I know that guy, when I say, oh man, yeah, look at he's booked over here. Oh look at that. That's cool. I got some guys. I know some people. It's cool. I like it. Also down in the description, please don't forget to follow Rasslin Rage and MIW on our social media. We got Twitter, we got Facebook, we got Instagram, we got all that wonderful stuff. We do our best to post as much stuff as we can. We also have a group on Facebook where we post everything to do with, hold on, are you ready? Michigan indie wrestling, because we got a bunch of motherfuckers from out of state that keep trying to come in our group and post shit from other states. No. And so that's wwhy our group it's not private. It is a public group, but the posts have to be approved by the admins, so that, because we make sure you guys aren't seeing any bullshit, somebody trying to get you to call Amazon and get a return, or
trying to finesse,
you check out the EBT $1,000 program, that shit. Make sure you get your $650 extra, all that. We ain't doing all that. It ain't happening.
Right.
or
Straight
hey,
finessing somebody.
oh, hey, check out this show in Indiana. No. You want to fucking know about Indiana shows? Go to Indiana Group. It's Michigan, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it is because, hey, maybe eventually Rasslin Rage ventures out. I've only been out of the state one time for wrestling, and that was down in Indiana, and I went with Mark when he was going by Cyrus Satine. I think it was AWF, I think it was. I'm not mistaken.
AWF.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah,
Dre was there. Dre was there with Dream, and Sean Tyler was there too. Hung out with those guys for a little bit. So
okay.
Yeah, but it was down there in I don't even remember, but it was Indiana. I know that much. It was weird, dude. It was like Deliverance and shit, dude. Like you go off the main road and it's like a fucking road in the woods to this hall and wow, okay. But
try being me in those alleys driving in the road. Yeah. I know all about that scary ass. I'm like, okay, all right.
At least it's a scary thing for sure, dude. Man, dude. So this is the get to know you interview, and anybody that comes on Rasslin Rage or MIDub or whatever we're doing, because we always got something going on, whether it be matches or interviews or I don't know, maybe you come on for 5 minutes of fame. You ever heard of that? The Danny Beals 5 minutes of fame. Dan does this thing where we bring people in for 5 minutes and they talk shit about whatever, and then Dan blows the whistle on them, and then we go to the next person.
They're basically cutting whole promos out here.
Yeah. It's a good thing we've done that, and then we do Indie Idol as well. I got a new season coming up, Indie Idol. That's where people do. It's a promo contest with judges instead of nobody's trying to get laid. Nobody's none of that bullshit. Nobody's trying to fuck none of that stuff. It's legit judges. It's all law. Yeah, I'm just saying so everybody knows. Yeah. But for sure, yeah. But anyways, we got all that wonderful stuff, and so Indie Idol is coming back, and that's awesome. And pretty soon we're going to be handing out some of these awards. I can't let you guys see who won this one. But oh, man.
I will hope to win one of these one day. That was pretty lit.
It is pretty sweet. It's still in the package, and I got to cover it up so nobody can see because nobody knows anything yet. So good stuff. Yeah, that is what
y'all doing some big stuff around in Michigan, and that's another thing too that I want to do. Because I am wrestling in the city more. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I'm married now, so like I'm trying to just chill. It's a lot of shit that's going on. You feel me? So my schedule's different, and the fact that I can wrestle in my city, freely, stress-free. You know what I'm saying? Like that's lit.
Right.
So
for sure.
I want to be able to just keep producing good matches, and there's a lot of dudes out here. Like I've worked like the young guys I work with already, like, Solo and like a few other of the kids out here, like they like that's lit. I want them to get over. I want all these kids to get over. I want everybody in Michigan to over it for real, because if we all get over it, bro, I'm telling you, like we can put Detroit back on the top of professional wrestling, dog. Like it can happen. It can really happen, bro.
I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? But the main thing I feel like that got to happen is organically people got to get over. And number two, like we have to stop making this shit look so fucking phony. Like it's so like everybody know, like, and I'm in the real world, bro. You in the real world too. Everybody that's in the real world know. They like if they go to like an event, they'll see some shit and they'll be like, that was like one of the hokiest things I ever saw in my life. I hear things, bro. I talk to people, like, right. You know what I'm saying? These things exist. As a performer, it's important that you go out there and you listen to like what the people are saying. That's why, like, you notice, I don't know if anybody, right? Like, you'll probably notice it now, but like before my matches even start, I'm always looking at the people. You know what I'm saying? I'm always trying to feel the energy on like what they finna do. Cause if I feel like if they not fucking with whatever it is that I'm about to do, I gotta switch gears anyway.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I might went out there and been like I'm thinking I might be a baby face, but as soon as I walk out and get straight boos, now what I'm gonna do.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to think on the fly about shit.
Yeah, for sure.
So we had to really be careful with how we present this shit, because it's already like easy to sit here and say like, oh, that shit's fake anyway. I'm not about to watch that. So we got to be careful.
That's right. So Mark Ross is in the chat, and he says it was in Indiana, and it was Tony Thunder's joint, is what he says. And then he says, what I was saying yesterday, Cody, it ain't about me, it's about the next man. So kind of like what you were saying a little bit ago. So
Mark is my. I'm gonna tell a story about Mark. Low key, what people don't know is that Mark was one of the dudes. Like I used to catch him a few times at in Toledo, in Ohio, and I would see him here and there, and he always kind of like reminded me of me because he took a bump one time that was like JonTae type bump. I'm like, he killed himself. And it was because of the love of the business.
Yeah.
Mark for real got a love for the business that I had when in like 2011 and whatnot, when I was just like, hell yeah, like let's just get it. And he was low-key kind of like my favorite wrestler for a little minute in the Indies. You know what I'm saying? So when he went out and branched out to Florida to, you know, do his thing, I was proud. I was like, that's what's up. I never really told him that, you know what I'm saying? But
right.
it was inspiring to see that, because we kind of, and after hearing his story yesterday, we definitely kind of got like the same history. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you open up your third eye to the business, somehow you look at it different, and you start to realize like, damn, you didn't gave half of your life to something where it's just like, you feel like you got nothing in return. You kind of do feel like that. But at the same time, you know that the business doesn't owe you anything also.
Right.
And I feel him on like a lot of stuff, like for sure. Like the whole, he mentioned something yesterday where it was like, he didn't know how to like handle business like that because it was straight out of high school. And I'm like, me too. You know what I'm saying? That's another problem. A lot of folks will bring in kids because they know that we're kids, and they know that all we want to do is just wrestle. It's no different than what a rapper would go through if he was in a shitty contract with a label. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. We all go literally through the same thing. We put our lives into something, and sometimes, you know, we put our egg in one basket, and it doesn't really necessarily work out the way we want it to. You know, but you know, you got to take that shit on the chin. Mm-hmm. And I respect a lot of shit that he did because he took a lot of shit on the chin, and I did too.
Right.
So,
right.
Well, I get that. Sure.
Right. And he's somebody that I enjoy having in my life, even though I don't get to see him quite as much as I used to, because, you know, we all have lives, and I know that's how it goes. He's spending a lot of time with his kids, but he's played it. I said it to him yesterday, and, you know, like you said, he had an influence on you, and he's had an influence on me, as well as Rasslin Rage. And I'm going to say it again. Rage almost stopped a few years ago because I was in a spot where I thought I was getting shit on, and he led me down another path. So for sure. So
you know, we all been shitted on, trust me. Right. They still shit on me. But at the same time, though, you live for that type of stuff, you know. Yeah. If you're a performer, and if you got the tunnel vision and you goal oriented, you live for that type of stuff. Because I know for a fact that when I came through in Michigan and I wasn't trained, but I was putting on good matches, it caught people's attention. Because they was like, how are you not trained, but you still putting on good matches? Right. That's something I need to understand that.
Right. Well, obviously there's something there then, and maybe we should capitalize on that, eh?
And Briar figured that out for me because he was my first pro match.
Right.
My first pro match was against Briar. And once again, that was another match where I was thrown into the wolves. But Briar fucked with me because prior to, he was the one that was actually like showing me shit, even in the yard thing that was going on. Like he was like, all right, well, you know, trying to teach me little things, you know what I mean? Because you got to protect the business at all costs. You know what I mean? You don't want nobody out here killing themselves. You don't want that type of shit. So Briar already kind of like knew who I was. And that's why I feel like he even took the chance on me anyway to even like, you know, let me like job out. You know, he like, all right, give me the kid and we'll figure it out. Yeah. And that whole match, like Briar was unbelievable, dog. Like, I don't think people understand like how gifted Briar is, dog, for real. Like this dude, I'm shitting bricks for real because I'm nervous. It's my first official pro match. And I'm going against a pro that's been in the business forever and that's got mad respect in the indie. So, you know, I ain't got no pressure on me, you know, whatever. You know, but and he took care of me. It was crazy. Briar is unbelievable, dog. And I never really forgot that type of shit because I'm grateful for everything. Nobody really gave me any. They ain't give me shit. I earned it all. And the little things matter to me. Like he didn't even have to accept the match. You know, that roster alone back then was like kind of lit. He could have chose. Yeah, he could have chose my uncles. He could have chose DBA. He's a lot of folks he could have chose, but he was like, "Fuck it, give me the kid. I'll do something." Either he wanted to put me over or he wanted an easy night. One of them, maybe both.
I have noticed that. I don't know about back then because I'm not sure when was this? What year was this?
2011.
2011. That was your first pro match against Briar Wellington. Okay, so you know, as of recently, I've seen Briar, Nate. You know, a lot of the you know, a lot of their faction, right? A lot of these, you know, the vets, shall we say, putting a spotlight on some of the younger talent lately. I've really noticed. I don't know if other people notice it, but I do.
I mean, it depends on which, you know, veteran you get.
Yeah.
Because they got that mentality where it's just like they got that old school mentality, bro. In that era, it was all about, yo, like our spot is literally on the line. You know what I'm saying? Like the next man up is a real big thing. Right. And now it's kind of different because we just the leaders of the generation now is like my age. Yeah. Let's be real, bro. Like they my age. Like even if you look at AEW, how old is Adam Cole? He's like 28. The Bucks is like 28, 29. You know, I'm 28.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like my generation is leading these people now.
Yeah.
And as scary as that may be, you know, it is a thing. So, but like, fortunately, like it's guys like myself and a few other guys that like, you know, they just want to go out there and better the business.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do, dog. I don't want to add anything hokey or nothing goofy or something where it's just like embarrassing, where it's just like, I'm not a fan of that. Right. You know what I mean? Like that's where I'm at. For real.
You know, and with Rage, you know, Rasslin Rage and MIDub, relating to it somehow. That's what I like to do. Is I like to do my best to relate to it, right? So in my instance is you know, when I first started, I did this for myself. I'll be honest with you, it was all about me. It really was. It was all about me. I'm like, oh, I want the spotlight, and I want to do this, and I want to do that, and then as it evolved and talking with Mark and things like that, it started to become more about the business. Right. And even though I'm not trained, it came more about the business. It came more about putting shine or making other people look good. And the more I did that, the more successful Rage became. And it's still to that day. That's how we operate right now. It's all about making it easier, number one, for the fans to obtain the knowledge to get to the places they need to go to experience indie wrestling in the state of Michigan. That's the main goal. And then the number two is to give them the information they need so that they know what happened at those events so that they can say, man, I should go see that. You know,
right.
And so I understand somewhat where you're coming from and what you're saying. But it took somebody like Mark Ross to say something to me to kind of wake me up to it. You know what I mean? It was kind of like he was smarting me up a little bit.
Yeah.
For sure. And
that's how it be.
You know, and I think it was Levi Blue who said a while ago in one of his posts about sometimes like and I won't say we because I don't I'm not in the locker room, okay? So I'm not going to say I'm part of that. But people in the industry of professional wrestling let outsiders in sometime and don't give them the proper schooling on how to be, so that when they do fuck up, they don't, or so that they, first of all, they don't, right? But then if they do, they're shunned, right? They're outcasted.
Yeah.
So they just need the knowledge is what they need. You just need the knowledge. And it just sucks that sometimes people won't give you that knowledge to help you, because they look like it, like they're trying to protect the business, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah. I feel that. And I think it's, like I said, it's because it's a different era. You know, the old guys, they treat it where it's just like, my spot's on the line, bro. When you see somebody that's really good, you know, bro, you know when somebody's really good.
Yeah.
And you know when somebody's like, okay, yeah, like I might need to figure something out because dude is on his way. Especially in this business. When you see, it's so different from other sports though, because you can tell like when somebody's coming into their own when they hooping, just off of like his points get bigger every game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But in wrestling, it's always about who's getting the bigger reaction, you know, each show.
Yeah.
Because that's how you can determine who you got to have as your cash cow for real. Who you about to, and that's what, in my opinion, what Proving Ground is. You know what I'm saying? If the people that won Proving Ground, congrats, for sure. But if you get to it, and this is what I came up with it in my head, you know, when they presented what Proving Ground actually is and what it means, to me, what they're asking for is they're looking for a guy. It's like, it's no different when what Vince McMahon asked the WWE roster in like 2002 Raw. Like, I need something. I want to shake this shit up again. I want to, you know what I'm saying? Who's going to be? I'm giving you the opportunity to take this shit and let's take this to a whole new level. Yeah. So who's going to be that guy to do it?
Right.
And when he meant, what he meant was, it wasn't like who can go out there and have the best 5-star match. Who can go out there and change this business and transcend this shit?
Right.
And I feel like that's where, you know what I'm saying, that's what they want to say. But like a lot of guys, they're not there yet when it's like that they don't grasp that. They're not thinking like that, because it's all about, well, if I don't get my, you know, that one move in, they're not gonna remember that. Now fuck that. They're not gonna remember that shit anyway, because they're not even really fucking with you like that.
Right. No.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally makes sense. Absolutely. For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, I hate to cut us short, but I think our time is up, my friend. We're gonna have to bring you We're gonna blah, 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 blah. We're gonna have to bring you back to talk again, because my friend, dude, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed talking to you. The best ones are when they just become conversations, in my opinion. And this was a great conversation, and you sound very knowledgeable. You know what I mean? And I enjoy that, because sometimes people hold back on those things and some people don't. And I'm a learner. I like to learn things, and I like to be taught the way of the Force. You know what I'm saying? Padawan. And I just don't, with me, I just don't want to disrespect anybody, dude. I don't want anybody to, you know, of course, if somebody needs to be disrespected, it'll be different. But but you know, but it's one of those things that, like, I know my place in the pecking order, and I don't want to ever seem like anybody ever thinks I'm owed anything, because I'm fucking not. And I don't ever want anybody to ever think that I expect things, because I don't.
Facts. I'm the same way, bro. Yeah. I don't expect anything. I'm a God-fearing dude. You feel me? I'm only 28. I'ma still make mistakes. You feel me?
Yep.
I ain't regular. The only thing regular about me is the gas I pump. But you feel me?
I love that, man. That was awesome.
For real. But
that was great. I never heard that one. All right, guys. So, ruthless aggression. Oh, Mark Ross is still here checking it out. Pretty soon, you two are going to have to fist the cuffs and Get at it.
If me and Mark get on and we have a conversation, we can won't be talking for like 3 days. So
well, maybe
yeah,
there's a new podcast. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Hey,
you know, Shogun and Jamal, they have their own. So you could do your own too. You know what I'm saying? And do something. I don't think
they're ready for ours.
Hey, speaking of Shogun, you know, I know we're almost out of here, but I got to ask. I thought about this earlier and I forgot to ask you. I seen that you know, Shogun won Gut Check, right? So he won a contract with Impact Wrestling, and I seen something on the internet as they're taking people for Gut Check. Is that something that you're going to submit for?
Like I said, I'm gonna be careful with how I say this, but because I'm smart to the business, like too hip, no.
Okay, all right. So no, no is the answer, and that's that, and that's a fact check. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And once again, make sure that you scroll down in the description and you follow JonTae on his Instagram and Facebook so that you can stay up to date on everything that he's doing. He will be at FU going against the BBW champions. No titles are on the line. So don't worry about that. He will not, you know, there will be no, you know, titles on the line. However, he will be there. Could he be at XICW on the 5th the next day? I don't know.
Never know.
You never know. So the only way to find out is to turn up and turn out, right? You buy a ticket. I already got mine, so you know I got my ticket in advance. I had tickets. I had tickets before they were even on sale. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, dude. They'd say, "Hey, DBA's like, hey," and I'm like, "Hey, here's money," and then it's like that.
Hey, I'm gonna do commentary with you. I'm gonna be like, "Hey, listen. I'm about to go to Rage commentary booth. We about to get lit."
There we go. All right, everybody. Have yourself a great night. And thank you once again to Mr. Jon'Tae Kieth. And
thank
you guys, we will see you back here on Sunday at 7 p.m. for Rasslin Rage, right here on the Rasslin Rage YouTube channel on r2youtube.com. That's the letter R, the number 2, youtube.com. See ya.
Rasslin Rage. Do it now. This is Rasslin Rage. This is Rasslin Rage. Cody Fleming is the man who leads the brigade. Who's going down? This is Rasslin Rage. Do it now. This is Rasslin Rage. This is